All right, so hope you all are doing well. This video is basically going to be a rant. It's going to be pretty quick, but this is basically going to be a rant from something that I've seen a lot with people who are running ads online. So please stop doing this with your ads. Now let's get into it and I'll talk about what exactly I'm talking about that I see people doing all the time when running their ads. So let's say, for example, you got a supplement brand. Let me fix this. All right. So let's say, for example, you have a supplement brand and you're selling a product like pre-workout or protein powder, whatever it is. Something where the reason somebody is buying the product is not aligned with what you are marketing them. And I'll get to this in just a second. So your target customer, they go to the gym. They wear, athletic clothes. They probably don't do their makeup. They don't do their hair, when they're going to the gym. Maybe they put it in a bun, something like that. So they're not dressing up and trying to look all pretty and wearing this expensive clothing and doing all this stuff and using, high production equipment. They're dressed like they're going to the gym, right? If they're going to the gym and there's somebody who goes to the gym, they're going to be dressed like they're going to the gym. So this type of person who's going to buy this product in this example, they're going to buy the product due to marketing fundamentals, not due to expensive photo shoots. Now, yes, there is a time and place where some brands may invest in expensive photo shoots for things. But for the vast majority of brands, especially brands that are just starting out, there's no reason you should be spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to hire these fancy models to go stand around and hold your pre-workout or hold your protein powder or whatever it is and just say your brand name and then run it as a paid ad expecting to get sales. It's not how it works. You're wasting your money. Like, you're literally just wasting your money. And sure, the ad platform, it might even show that that ad gets some sales. But here's the reality. That is likely not going to have any. It might have a very small impact, but it's likely not going to have any real impact on the actual incremental sales volume of your business. And if you're trying to grow the business, that's what you need to be focused on, is the actual blended sales volume of your business. If you start spending money on ads, and you do this where you're running ads and you're just showing a bunch of models and they're holding your product, and with some product categories this can work, by the way. I'm not saying this is for all product categories, but with the vast majority of products, if there's not an implied benefit being shown, like if it was apparel, okay, that's one thing, that's different. If it was some product where you're selling a supplement and you're trying to show how smooth the lady's skin is, sure, that's kind of one thing, but you still probably are going to have to convey the benefits more than just showing some models dancing around, saying your brand name. It's not going to work as an ad. You're wasting your money. Like, you're literally wasting your money running ads that do not apply marketing fundamentals in the ads. So what should you do instead? So what you should do instead is, if you're selling a product, you need to understand how to actually market the product if you're going to spend money on ads, because paid ads is a very expensive way to get customers, and the costs just keep going up and up, and it's a very expensive way to get customers. It's an extremely, extremely powerful way to grow your business. And it's also a very, very powerful way to waste thousands of dollars if you don't know what you're doing, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars if you don't know what you're doing. And you go in there trying to run paid ads based on what you think would work, that's not based on any marketing fundamentals whatsoever. So here's what you should do, and here's why you shouldn't waste your money. Think about it first. Is what you're selling clothing, where you're trying to show these nice looking models wearing the clothing and looking good in the clothing? If so, that's not really a product where you have to sell somebody on benefits. Now, if you're selling supplements, that's an entirely different product than if you're selling clothing. So you have to understand your actual market and what actually sells your market. And you can do this through researching and through studying the marketing fundamentals. Learn what makes a good hook. You can go watch videos. This isn't going to be a video on creatives, but you can watch videos online of how to write a good hook, and you'll get at least some basic information for how to write a good hook for ads. But this isn't going to be a video on creatives and how to make good creatives. This is just on overall marketing strategy in general. Is the implied benefit of the product being clearly shown in the video? Of whatever product you're shown, I should be able to watch that video without reading any text and know exactly what you were showing me, just from the clips being shown alone. If you're showing me a model and she's dancing around and she looks good, it might get a bunch of clicks. It might get a bunch of likes if you have a good looking model that you were showing. But that doesn't mean you're going to get sales. Clicks does not equal sales. Views does not equal sales. What equals sales is, one, ideally, getting good engagement on an ad is good. So if you can get good engagement, that's great. But you have to have the marketing fundamentals in place also, or it doesn't really matter. So your ad can get a bunch of engagement. It can get a bunch of views. It can earn a bunch of spend even. And if the ad is not good at capturing the right kind of attention, because you're not actually talking about the product, you're just saying the brand name and showing some pretty model, and people click on it and like it because it's a model that looks good, but they don't actually even pay attention to what you're selling. Yeah, you might get good engagement on the ad. That doesn't mean it's going to drive sales. It doesn't mean it's going to drive new sales for new customers or sales at all. So there needs to be an implied benefit that is being clearly shown in the video. So one, through the messaging that is being used, whether it's the audio, the voiceover, the scripting, the headlines, the body copy, all that stuff, whatever it is, you should be able to clearly know what is being shown in the video, and also with the visuals. So with the visuals being shown, you should catch my attention in those first 3 to 5 seconds of the type of person that you want to buy, and this isn't going to be a whole video on that, but you should catch my attention, or the type of person's attention who you actually want to get their attention. And then you need to explain to them why they actually need to buy the product. Showing a bunch of models in a photo shoot that you spent thousands of dollars on is not going to sell your product in most cases, in my opinion. It's just a waste of money. If you're actually trying to sell the product, if you want brand awareness, and you want people to just engage with your brand, but you don't care if they buy, that's another thing, but if you're trying to sell the product, you have to actually talk about the product. Unless you are a massive multi-billion-dollar brand that everybody knows about, generally you have to kind of talk about the product, at least give them some reason to buy. So why should they buy your brand versus every other brand? And then most of the time when you see ads being ran by like a smaller company where they're trying to run the ads themselves and maybe they don't understand the marketing, they often miss this very, very key point of they don't actually explain why somebody should buy their brand. And sure, not every ad has to explain your entire brand story. You don't have to tell somebody every detail about your product necessarily in each ad, right? You see this all the time where some ads, they may show, they may highlight one specific benefit of a product in each of these different ads, or they may focus it on 3 different benefits. So you don't have to necessarily show every benefit, but you need to give somebody some actual valid reason to click on that ad and buy. If you're not doing that and you're just throwing up a bunch of ads from a photo shoot that you get with a bunch of models that you spent thousands of dollars on, you're wasting your money because you have a flawed view of what works in advertising. Oftentimes the ads that work the best are ugly ads that look like they were shot on an iPhone in low quality, where they just applied basic marketing fundamentals. And it's all these little details. It's the hook that you use in the first 3 to 5 seconds. It's the type of scenes that you're using. It's all this other stuff that makes the difference on whether the ad performs or not. It's not having a bunch of fancy models that you spend a bunch of money on, or having some high production photo shoot to sell protein powder, when that's not even why somebody's buying the protein powder to begin with. So don't waste your money. Yeah, this is going to be, pretty much the end of this video. But what I'm trying to say here is don't waste your money hiring people who it doesn't even make sense to hire for your business, that aren't going to benefit you at all if your goal is to run ads successfully, because it's not how it works. In many cases, you're just going to waste your money. So hopefully this was helpful. There is some nuance here. Every business is going to be different, and in some businesses it could be worthwhile to hire some local models for a photo shoot. But generally speaking, make sure that with whatever ads you're running, that there is a clear thought process behind the videos or the images or whatever it is that you're putting up, and that they are built in a way that is designed to get the attention of the type of person that you want to buy. So if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you want to see next. But anyways, that is going to be it for this video.